In the last class, we are discussing about Angular HTTP client module. What is the main use of going with Angular HTTP client module? To invoke the services running on server. Like we want to run a application which is running on server. So for that, we have created one Spring Boot project. And what we have done in this, we have created the backend API. So where we have created employee, the entity class, repository, and controller class. And when we run this project, let us run this Spring Boot project. So once we run, this is the API which is going to connect to employee table and which is going to return all the records present in employee table. So that is the API what we have created in the last class. And when we are working with Angular, we got some issue. That's the reason I've recreated the project once again. So I've already done this part. So what I've done, I've created a new project here, Spring Angular Frontend Final. We are going with a new project, what? Spring Angular Frontend Final. See how we are creating projects. See, ng new Spring Angular Frontend Final, and we have to end with like this: hyphen no hyphen standalone. So why this is important here is this file is important for me. If you are not ending with hyphen no standalone, this app.module.ts file is not getting created, and I'm unable to use this Angular HTTP client module. So that's the reason when you are creating this Spring project, end with what? Hyphen no standalone, so that this app.module.ts file will be created. Then, so once we have created this project, I've created one new component, employee component. So how to create component? Ng generate component, employee component. The important files are employee component.ts, employee component.html. Let me open the project in Visual Studio Code. In this, what I've done, we are having this project. So this one, Spring Angular Frontend Final. In this, we have created this employee component. Under that, the important files are employee component.ts file, employee component.html file. There. Now, we'll come back to this code and we'll discuss. Then, whenever you want to use this routing and Angular HTTP client module, in app.module.ts file, we need to add these two modules here. Under import section, in app.module.ts file, we need to add this router module and HTTP client module like this. The file is app-module.ts file. Here I have added app-module.ts file. In this file, under this import section, so here you can see under this import section, we have added this router module and even one more HTTP client module. Only these two lines we need to add under the import section of app-module.ts file. Then the next step is we have created a class employee. How to create a class? Just we have to use this command ng generate class and the name of the class. Here don't say C. We have to use class only. If you just use C, it will become component. So when you want to create a class, we have to use the complete word class here. So in this, we have created one class employee. So in this employee class, we have taken the properties like employee ID, name, designation, and salary. These are the properties we have taken under employee class. Then the next important one is service class. How to go with the services? We have to create a service class employee service. I've taken like this: ng generate service employee service. This is the major important code, employee service. Employee service class. So here we have taken a class employee service. Now in this, I should invoke the service which is running on Java server. This is the REST API what we have created. and this we want to invoke from Angular. So in order to invoke from Angular, we make use of what property? HTTP client. It's an object of class HTTP client. So in the constructor, we are going with this property HTTP client. In this employee service, we have created one getEmployees method, and how we are invoking the service by using this return this http.get employee array, and we are invoking the service. So once we invoke this service, what this service is returning to us? It is returning the list of employees. This method returns what? List of employees. So this list of employees from where you are getting from database table. So what are the list of employees it's returning? That we are storing into this employee array. So the main use of going with service class is it is used to invoke the service, that is REST API, which is running on our Java server. So for that, by using HTTP client in this method getEmployees, we are invoking the service. Now the next step, go to this employee component.ts file, employee component. In this, we are creating employee array. And in constructor, we are creating object of employee service. Why we are creating object of employee service? Because in this employee service, we are having getEmployees method. So whenever you want to invoke a method of this class, we have to create object of the class here. So we are creating object of employee service. Then on initialization, by using this employee service object, we are calling which method? getEmployees. So once we call the method getEmployees, this method will get invoked. So once it invokes the method, what are the response we are getting? What are the response you are getting? That response we are storing into which array? Employees array. The response what you are getting, we are storing into what? This employees array. Now this array is ready with values. Now we have to do the presentation. How to do presentation? Employee component.html. Here, employee component.html. Here we are creating a table and we are going with the rows like employee ID, name, designation, salary, and here we are traversing our employee array like tr for let employee of employees. It goes to this employee array, takes one employee, stores into this employee variable, and we are displaying the data here. Employee.employee ID, name, designation, and salary. So what is the use of this HTML? Mainly for what purpose? To display the data in tabular format. Once we have done this step, next step, update app routing.ts file. App routing.ts file. They have used it hyphen symbol now. So in the previous versions, it was dot only. So I've habituated with the dot only. App hyphen routes.ts file. App hyphen routing hyphen module. So we have to go to this file, app-routing module. So here in this routes, this code will be there. Only just this part of code we should type. Only this part of code. So what we should type here? Path. If it is empty, if you are not providing any path, which component we should load? Employee component. We should load which component? Employee component. So when the path is empty. So this only we call routing. Then once we apply this routing, our next step is we need to update app.html file. So go to this app.html file. Just we have used this router outlet. So whenever you want to make your routing work, we have to use the element router outlet. That's it. Then build your project and open browser and type the URL. So build your project now. ngset. Once the build is successful, open browser and type the URL http://localhost 4200. So this connects to our REST API, which connects to our employee table, and it's going to pull out all the records from employee table, and we are displaying the data in tabular format. Here, clear this application, all of you know. This is very, very important. So for our projects, today's this concept, whatever I discussed, Angular HTTP client model and routing, these two concepts are very, very important in order to work with the projects. Right? And I've already uploaded the source codes in our GitHub repository, and these are the URLs. Already I've uploaded this. Okay. So any questions up to here related to Angular? Let us move to the next part of our course, the next module. One more important one, Linux and AWS. This is also one more very, very important module. And here, no programming. Okay, no coding part. Just these are the tools which we have to use. Linux and AWS. So before we go to this AWS, let us first of all understand what is this Linux. So what is this Linux? It's a operating system. Okay. So what is an operating system? What is an operating system? It's an interface between your computer and user. Operating system is a software and acts as an interface between user and computer. Examples of operating systems are like which we use more: Windows, Linux, Mac, Solaris, Android, iOS. These two are what? Related to mobiles. So these two are mobile operating systems. Right? These are some of the examples of operating system. So here Linux is very, very important because by using this Linux only, we are going to install the softwares. Okay. And it's used to communicate with the servers. By using Linux commands only, we are going to communicate. So for that reason, we should know, every developer should know about Linux operating system. So coming to this Linux operating system. Linux operating system is developed by Linus Torvalds. So simple introduction today. Linux OS is free and open source. Linux is what? It's free and open source. Then, what is the meaning of open source? The complete code will be given. We can take that code and modify it based on our requirement. Means by using this Linux OS, we can even create other operating systems by using the code here, open source. Then, Linux supports both GUI, graphical user interface, and character user interface. Linux supports what? Both graphical user interface and character user interface. You can even call it as command line interface. CUI means you can even say CLI, command line interface. Okay. When you come to Windows, when you take Windows operating system, Windows is single user. So it's a personal PC. That's the reason we call Windows as what? Personal PC. So there we cannot share. So whatever the file present in our operating system, if some other people want to access it, means in one file, multiple users want to work. One file want to open by multiple users and they want to work on that file. That is not possible in the case of Windows. Whereas in case of Linux, it is a multi-based multi-user based operating system. This is the main advantage of going with Linux. So what is the main advantage of with Linux? Linux is multi-user based operating system. And one more advantage is when we go with Windows, Windows is not totally secured. That's the reason we have to install antivirus softwares in our Windows operating system. We install what? Antivirus softwares. So when you are working on Windows, because Windows are not highly secured. Whereas Linux is what? It is more secured. So Linux is more secured because it is virus free. No need to install any antivirus in the case of Linux operating system. So where we use Linux more? As a Java developer, where we are going to use Linux here. So Linux is highly recommended for business applications. Linux is what? Highly recommended for business applications. Like example, we are going to use Linux for database servers. So we install database servers in Linux operating system. We install application servers like Tomcat, WebLogic related to Java, IIS server related to .NET. Then we can go for Docker server. It's mainly for our deployment purpose. So whatever the project we have created, if you want to deploy the project onto a server, we make use of Docker servers. We'll be learning all these things in our course. Docker servers, Jenkins servers, like this. Okay. So this is the main use of going with Linux in our course. So how this Linux has come is, how the name Linux has come is, so when this Linus Torvalds want to work with a operating system, he was previously using Unix operating system, which is completely character user interface, and he want to update that operating system. But the Unix team did not allow to do the updations part. So what Linus has done is, he has seen one other operating system based on his ideas. He has seen one operating system called as Linux. And what he has done, what is his name? Linus. So from this, he has taken the characters, like he has taken these two characters from his name, Li, and last three characters from Linux, and he has named it as what? Linux. So this is how the name has come, Linux operating system. So from his name, he has taken these two characters, and he was working with one operating system like Linux, and he has done the changes. Because this one is also open source, he has done some changes, and he named it as what? Linux operating system. There. Now, so coming to distributions, Linux distributions. Here, in this Linux, when you come to Windows, we'll be having versions like Windows 7 version, Windows 8 version, Windows 10, Windows 11, like that. So in the case of Windows, we go with the versions. But in the case of Linux, we call them as distributions. Instead of versions, we call it as distributions. So we are having totally approximately 200 plus distributions are available related to Linux. And the distributions are like Amazon Linux. Then we are having Ubuntu Linux. We are having Fedora Fedora Linux. Then we are having Red Hat Linux. Okay. Then we are having Kali Linux. Then SUSC Linux, like that. Okay. So we are having approximately 200 plus distributions. And in our course, I'm going to discuss this Amazon Linux. Because we are going to make use of AWS. We are going to make use of what? AWS in order to install Linux operating system in AWS. So if I want to work with AWS, the first thing what you require is we require an account in AWS. So what we have to do in order to work with this Amazon Linux, what we require, we need to create an account in AWS. So how to do this? AWS account setup. AWS account setup. So for this, just open search engine like Google and say AWS account setup or account create. Or instead of saying setup, we have to say creation. So open search engine like Google and search for AWS account create. Let me show this. AWS account create. So here you can see Amazon Web Services. AWS means Amazon Web Services. Open the official website of Amazon. Okay, you can make use of this URL also directly. https://aws.amazon.com. Okay, you can make use of this URL also. So once we open this page, here you can see the option C, create account. Here you can see the option create account. Now once we click on this create account, here we have to provide the details. Okay, so sign up for AWS. So we have to provide the details here. So first we have to provide our root user email address, and we have to go with the name. We have to go with the email address and we have to go with the name. Okay, so already I've created this user. Okay, already I've created. So once we provide these details, the email ID and the name of your account, it's a unique name, and we have to click on this verify email address. So once we click on this verify email address, it's going to provide a link. It's going to send a link to your email ID for verification. For authentication purpose, it's going to send the mail. So a lot of steps are present in this. So I cannot show that steps live. Okay. So due to some security reasons, I cannot show this, how to create this account setup live. Okay. So for that, how to do these steps here, how to create the account, I'll be sharing one YouTube video to you. Okay. So AWS account creation, you can find this YouTube video, YouTube link. So by using this YouTube link, a lot of steps will be there. So where you need to provide. So the first step is we have to provide our email ID and the account name. Once we verify, then it's going to ask you the details. It will ask the details. Just I'll be providing those details to you. Like just I'm sharing orally. Then, so once we click on this verify email address, it's going to send a verification code to your email. Then once we have entered that email, we have to verify the code. So what details we have to provide? In this page, we have to provide our root user email address. We have to provide the root user email address. Provide AWS account name. AWS account name, some account name. Okay, then click verify email address. So complete live, I've done this one, not live. So I've done a video. So where I've removed some of the important things which I cannot share. So that you can find over here. So verify your email address. Once we click on verify email address, it will send verification code to email. Then provide the verification code. Provide the verification code. Once we provide the verification code, then click verify. We have to click on verify. Then once we verify this, then it is going to ask you the root user password. It's going to ask you the root user password. Then once we enter the root user password, then it is going to ask you once again, confirm root user password. Confirm root user password. Then once we confirm, then click continue. We have to click on what? Continue button. Then make check mark to or select personal. So for what purpose you are using this AWS? Choose here personal. So it is going to ask you a radio button. In radio button options, select personal. Then it will ask you the details, like it will ask you the full name. It will ask you the full name, then provide the full name. Then it will ask you the phone number. Provide the phone number. Okay, provide some phone number. Once we provide the phone number, then next step, accept agreement. Accept agreement and click finish. Sorry, and click continue. Okay, just these are all our personal details. Then after this, it will go for billing information. This is important, billing information. In this billing information, it will ask you your credit or debit card number. It will ask you what? It will ask you the credit and debit card number. So you have to provide compulsory, but amount will not get debited. So it's going to debit some amount and that will get added once again to your account. Okay, something approximately 2 rupees, I think, related to INR. It's going to debit some amount and that amount will get added to your account back again. Okay. Then once we provide these details, don't worry, you have to provide these details compulsory and it's free. We are having some time tenure, like for up to 1 year, we can use this AWS for free of cost. Okay, some limitations are there that I'll explain once we enter into AWS. Okay, then after payment success, compulsory you have to create. Okay, if you want to work with AWS and in future, if you want to work with the DevOps tools, compulsory you need to create this account. Okay, enter credit card, debit card, no worries at all. Okay, you have to do this. Then after payment success, you have to verify mobile number. Okay, verify mobile number using text message. Okay, then click continue. Click continue. Then what it is going to do? Choose plan. Choose plan. So we have to choose. Click basic. Click basic plan. Click complete setup. Click what here? Complete setup. Then right, complete the setup. Then once we have done the setup, now again it will redirect your AWS. So here I'm just redirecting here. You can see here my account. So we have to log in. So AWS Management Console. Click on AWS Management Console. Here I'm showing once again. Once we open this page now, awsamazon.com. Here you can see AWS Management Console. In this page, provide our account ID, or you can even choose this one, sign in using root email. So initially let us go with root, sign in using root user email. Provide our root user. What is IAM user? I'll discuss later. So provide your root user, then click on next. Click on next. Then we have to provide the password. Then once we type our password, click here sign in. Okay. It is asking for security, account secure. So I'm just clicking here, skip for now. Right. So this is how your AWS dashboard is going to look here. Okay. So up to 1 year we can use this. Right. So my user ID, AWS user ID is, in my case, it is Raj Asil 100. Okay. So this is the user ID we can use, or we can even use email also in order to sign into AWS. Okay. So here you can find, see, applications, everything. It's a new one. Only for this course I have created this user. So I'm going to use this user till the end of our course. Okay. So this user is created only for this course. So I'll be keep on using this user. See here, you can select the region, supported regions. Okay. So under Asia, we are having this one like related to India, we are having Mumbai and Hyderabad. So where we can store our servers, where we can store our data, where we can create our servers, everything we related to India, we are having Mumbai and Hyderabad. So you can find your nearest location. You can choose your nearest location. How to choose that everything, I'll be showing in the next classes. Okay. So this account creation, you need to do compulsory on your system. Because if you want to do the practice, if you want to work on Linux operating system, if you want to use Docker, every place, Jenkins, okay, we are going to make use of Linux. And we are going to install this Linux on our AWS. On this AWS, we are going to install Linux. So we are going to create one virtual machine, Linux virtual machine in AWS. So what AWS is going to do, it's going to provide the services. It's going to provide the platform where you can install our softwares. Right? Got it up to here? Right? You need to do this setup before you join next class, and you can find the complete details, the complete video. All the steps, I've made a video, so you can find the details in this YouTube link. Please watch it and complete the setup on your system. Then in tomorrow's class, I'll be stopping here today. In tomorrow's class, I'm going to install Linux, Amazon Linux in AWS. Then we start working with Linux operating system. Just we have to learn the commands. Linux operating system commands we have to learn. Okay. Any questions anyone up to here? Yeah. So thank you all. Thank you very much, and see you tomorrow by installing Linux virtual machine on AWS. Thank you all.